Hello, it's me, Robin, with Simple Food, Simple Life. It's a snowy day here in Iowa. Well, it's getting that way. It started out with rain, and now I see that it's turning to snow. So I am down here in my family room, and I'm enjoying the coziness of it. Before I go to the kitchen, because we're going to make a new dish today. I'm going to make taco meatballs. I need a sip of coffee on that. I'm having one last cup of coffee before I get busy. Taco meatballs came to me in the middle of the night. I woke up in the middle of the night a while back, and as I am prone to do, and and this dish came to my mind, and I decided that I was going to make it so that I could share it with you. Now, full confession, I already made it once. I did a run through, and I made it for the crock pot, which it was very good in the crock pot. However, I felt like it was lacking something. So I decided that this time I'm going to finish it off in the oven. Now, this is a one, or can be, a one-pot dish. So we're only going to dirty one pan to cook it in. And it's also a keto-friendly or a banting-friendly. I think they say banting in Australia. It is a keto/banting-friendly dish that is very good, and I think that anyone who eats that way, or that is your method of eating, by all means, I hope that you give this a try. So it takes very few ingredients. I think you'll be pleased about that. And it's very, very tasty. Very tasty. I was really pleased with it. And I think you're really going to like the finished product. I think my cup is backwards, but it says "Hello, Gorgeous." So that's me. If I sometimes drink my tea or coffee out of my Hello Gorgeous cup, it actually uplifts my spirits a little bit. All right, I'm going to sit down here until I finish my coffee, and then let's go into the kitchen. Can you want to see why it's nice to be down here? Look at that. Isn't it pretty? Just a couple of minutes more. When I bought this home, I had downsized. 6 years after my husband passed away, I decided it was time to downsize. So I sold my very large home with very large yard, and I bought this home. And it was built in 1952, 2 years after I was born. And it was sold by the gentleman who actually built the house. He built a house for his family. It is a wonderful little home, and I really wanted to downsize, but I walked into the basement area, and this side of the basement was finished. It didn't look like this because I had to, it was very dark, and I just wanted to brighten it up a little bit. So all the painting, all the colors, everything you see is what I have done since I lived here. And I have lived here going on, 6 years now I've lived here. So I love my little house. It's a 1952 house, and it's well built and so enjoyable. But the thing that was striking was this fireplace that he built. And I don't know how long it had been since a fire had been built in it. And I thought, you know what, I'm never going to build a fire in that fireplace. And it is perfectly fine. It works very well and all of that. But I did find this insert in the, actually I found it on Amazon, and it makes a wonderful electric fire, and it puts out a nice amount of heat just to ward off the chill a little bit. So there it is. It's very nice, and I just enjoyed it so much, and everyone who comes here is very surprised to see this cozy place in the basement of this small house. So I like it. Okay, all right, I just thought I'd take a minute and show you that. And come in the kitchen with me. I think that you will like what you see. It's pretty economical, very economical, and it'll feed a family. So come on in and let's take a look, and let me show you, because you know what, if I can do it, you can do it. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and share, because everybody needs to know how to do this stuff, right? I'm excited. Okay, I'm going to finish my Hello Gorgeous coffee, and I'm going to go in the kitchen, and we're going to make taco meatballs. I love it. All right, I'll see you there. Hello, thanks for joining me today. We're back in the kitchen, as you know. Okay, let's get to it. I'm going to make taco meatballs. And I've got my big silver bowl here, my big bowl, so that I can show you what ingredients go into the taco meatballs. For one, of course, ground beef. This ground beef is 81% lean and 19% fat. I don't get overly concerned about that, but this happened to be on sale several months ago, and I had it in the freezer, so I thought, well, I'm just going to use it. But listen, if you would rather, you can use a mixture of beef and turkey, or you can use just turkey. You can mix some sausage in there if you want to. Venison, honestly, it's whatever ground meat you would like to use. I think that any of those things would adapt themselves well to the taco meatballs. We're going to need 2 eggs, and we're going to need some taco seasoning, of course. Now, this is something I purchased at Aldi's a while back, but if you want to use homemade, you certainly can. I have a recipe for homemade taco seasoning, and it's very easy to make, and plus it allows you to adjust how much salt you want in there, or if you don't want any salt, that's fine too. So here's my homemade, and here's my store-bought mix. Now I'm going to use both of these today, actually. So I've got some crushed red pepper. Just going to put a little bit of that in there. If you don't care for the spiciness, you can leave that out. I've got some minced onion, which is dried. I'm going to put that in there. And that's going to help bind our meatball mixture together along with the eggs, because I'm not putting any filler in these meatballs. So in other words, there's no crackers, no breadcrumbs, anything like that. You can do that if that's not a problem for you and you would like to extend your ground beef a little bit more. Feel free to add a little filler in there. That's perfectly fine. I have a can of petite diced tomatoes. I really don't have hardly any brand loyalties, so this was on sale, so that's what I have. And I have a can of petite diced tomatoes with basil, garlic, and oregano. If you want to put in a can of tomatoes with seasonings in them, by all means go ahead, or you can use them plain. Or you can use a can of diced tomatoes of your preference and a jar of your favorite salsa or your homemade salsa if you want to. I'm just saying, if you want to do it, you can. I've got a partial bag of peppers and onions. Now, and I have a whole bag. I'm going to use both of these because I want to be generous with them. I get these at the Dollar Tree for $1. These are actually 14 ounces of mixed peppers and onions. But if you want to use fresh and you want to slice them up yourself and cut them yourself, by all means, go right ahead. That's absolutely no problem. You do what you feel comfortable with, and you also just do what you have, okay? Because I'm just using what I have, and I really, really like these. And for me, peppers have been kind of pricey lately, so this works out really well. Okay, I've got a little bit of oil here. I'm going to start my meatballs with a light fry, and I have some salt, a little bit of salt, because this contains salt. This does not. And I have some pepper. So, and I have a tablespoon measuring spoon in order to measure some of my ingredients, as my spices, as well as help me make my meatballs. You'll see that when we get to it. So, and I've got my handy dandy trusty cast iron skillet, and that's what I'm going to use to cook everything in. So, and you'll see how that goes as we move along. All right, so I'm going to get ready to do my meatball mixture, and then you're going to see what we do from there. Easy, easy, easy. Okay, I put my hamburger in the big bowl. I've got 2 eggs in the bowl, and I'm going to, oh, that was my oven. I'm preheating my oven to 350 degrees. I'm going to add the remainder of the minced dried onion into the meat mixture. Now, the reason I use this, is because it helps, if you're not using a filler, this really helps to bind the meat mixture together into the meatball shape, because the dehydrated onion gets rehydrated and takes up some of the moisture, which is really a good thing. Now, if you're going to use a filler, you don't have to bother with these. You can just put regular onion in there, or you can leave it out. It's entirely up to you. I just picked this up at, well, you can get it anywhere, Dollar Tree. This is the Clover Valley brand. That comes from Dollar General. So you can just do whatever you like. Now we're going to add in the envelope of our taco seasoning mix. Now, 1 envelope is sufficient for this amount of meat. You can use more or less depending on your taste. And I'm going to add just a little bit, not much, a little bit of some crushed red pepper, or maybe just a tiny bit more. And I will add this, my homemade, to the vegetables, to the peppers. So we will get to that. I'm going to add a little bit of pepper because I like pepper. And let's just put a little bit in there. Don't breathe the pepper. That's a little bit, makes you cough. And I'm going to put a tiny bit of salt in here. Not too much. Excuse me. Don't breathe the pepper, I repeat. I need a drink of water. Oh my goodness. That was peppery. All right. So we got that going on. And now we're going to get in with our hands. If you have a different method of doing this, by all means, use that method. I don't have an issue with using my hands. I'm going to take my ring off, however. Sometimes, you know what, if you don't take your rings off when you're doing things like this, all those little particles get in your rings, and it's not very good. because then your rings never seem to get, well, anyway, you know. Okay, so here we go. I'm going to smush this all up, and I should have left one hand clean so I can turn the camera off when I need to, but oh well. So we're going to get this all mixed up together, and then when that's done, we will come back and now see, I'm going to have to wash the sand off in order to turn my camera off. But anyway, when I come back, I'll show you what the mixture looks like. Now it's all mixed up. I'm going to put this in the refrigerator for about 10 minutes. It doesn't have to be covered or anything. I'm just going to put it in there for about 10 minutes, long enough for the dehydrated onions to get rehydrated. And I want to keep this chilled, so I don't want it to sit out. So about 10 minutes we will come back and we'll brown these off and we'll get on with the next step. Awesome. All right, see you then. Okie doke. I've already started making the meatballs, but I did save some back because I want to show you how I do this. Now, I have a tablespoon measure here, which for me makes just about the right size of a meatball. If you want bigger meatballs, then make bigger meatballs, because it's your taco meatballs. You do what you want, and that's all I do. I just, this way it gives me, you know, so that they're all similar sizes. That's all I do. Now, this was in the refrigerator for about 10 minutes. That's just long enough to get those onions rehydrated. And I've got my cast iron skillet here. I'm going to turn the heat on under that, and I'm going to get ready to brown these. Now, I find that if I brown the meatballs prior to the finished product, prior to finishing them off in the oven, they actually hold up nicer. Now see, that's about the size I like. If you want a bigger meatball, then just use a bigger meatball. That's fine. All right. Let me wash my hands really quick here. Now, I've got the heat on under my skillet, and I'm going to just get these in there. Let's see if it's warm enough. Not quite yet, so hang on there. Grab some paper towel here. That's only for my hands. It's not for anything major. So, let's get them. What spoon should I use to turn them? Well, I don't know. Let's try this spoon. Let's try this. My plastic utensils are looking so sad because I know I put them in the dishwasher. I guess you're not supposed to. Okay. I think our oil is good here. Got a little bit of sizzle going on. Now, put the meatballs in so that they're not touching. These are rather delicate. A lot like me. So, let's do that. All I put in here is a little vegetable oil. If you want to put something different, go ahead. You can put olive oil in there if you want to, but really there's no need. It's just inexpensive just to use some nice vegetable oil. That's all it is. All right, now we're going to brown these. We're not going to cook them all the way. We're just going to brown them so that we can now, the best thing you can really do with them right now is probably just leave them alone. Turn the heat down on medium-low because you don't want them to get burnt. And then we're going to put them on a plate, and then we will go to the next step. So, let's see. That's pretty nice. That's nice. That looks good. If you can turn them. Sometimes it takes a little finesse, but we will carry on with vigor, and we will get them done. You notice how I've left quite a lot of space there because I don't want them to fall apart on me. They'll still be good if they fall apart, that's fine. But we're just going to brown them, try to brown them on all sides. And then we're going to set them on a plate, not on a paper towel, on a plate. You don't need to line the plate with anything. And then we're going to come back when these are all browned, and we are going to go to the next step. And easy, easy, you're going to like it. Okay, I got the meatballs browned. Now, just so you know, using these ingredients and my measuring method for the meatballs, I have 19 meatballs here, okay? That kind of gives you an idea of how much you can get out of a pound of ground beef without adding fillers such as bread or crackers, etc. Okay? Now, I have poured off a little bit of the fat because there was more fat in there from the ground beef. So I poured off a little bit of that because we don't need all of that grease. And now I'm going to add in a partial bag of peppers and onions. Now be careful. They're frozen. They might splatter. So be careful. And now I'm going to add in the full bag. And like I said, these come from the Dollar Tree. Alright, now then, use my same utensil here, and I'm going to saute these. Now, well, the reason I use this pan is for convenience, and another thing, I want to get up all of the tasty bits from browning the meatballs on the vegetables as well. Okay? Alright. Now, I'm going to add in, this is a half tablespoon measure. I'm going to add in, start out I think with just a tablespoon. Now when I made this taco seasoning homemade, it calls for powdered onion, but I didn't have any, so I used my dehydrated onion. You can probably see some of the specks in there. So I'm going to start with a tablespoon, just to season those peppers. Now it's going to come back up to heat. Let's get this seasoning all mixed in. I think I said the seasoning doesn't have any salt, the homemade does, but now that I think about it, I think I did put a little bit of salt in there. Now feel free to use two full packages of vegetables, or honestly as many peppers and onions as you like. It's not, there's no hard and fast rules. Alright, I've got this turned on high because I want the heat to come back up. And we're going to cook those just a bit. Oh, they smell divine, I have to say, they really do. And as I said, feel free to use as many as you want. This is what I have, so this is what I'm going to use. These are awesome. Now I'm going to add in the tomatoes that are seasoned with basil, garlic, and oregano. A lot of times you can find the Mexican flavored tomatoes. By all means use those. But this is what I had. I'm going to use those up. Now I'm going to bring that back up to the boil again. Now your vegetables are going to shrink a little bit. That's okay. Now, if you want to, You can add some drained corn to this. You can add frozen corn to this. That would be lovely. Whatever you would like. Now we're going to add the other can of tomatoes. And like I said, if you want to put in your favorite jar of salsa, do that. Use the whole jar. That's perfectly fine. Get all those little flavory bits on there. And I think, because I'm a spicy kind of girl, I'm going to add another tablespoon of homemade taco seasoning. Now this is going to go into the oven, 350 degree oven, for 20 to 30 minutes. Now this is what I want to happen. I want to leave it in there long enough to, and excuse me, I'm going to slide in my meatballs here. I'm going to leave it in long enough to cook down some of the liquid that's in this, because that's what's going to really make it tasty. And it'll give that chance for all of those flavors to get familiar and cozy with each other. Once you put this in the oven, leave it alone. You don't have to stir it. You don't have to do anything to it. Just leave it. Now, let's turn this off. I'm going to pop it in the oven, 350 degrees, for 20 to 30 minutes. I'm going to set it on 20 minutes, and if it needs more time, I will give it that. Be sure and use your timer. Your timer is your friend. I use my timer all the time. So, off we go into the oven, and we'll be back and see what we have. You're going to like it. All right, we'll be back. Okay, this is what it looks like after 20 minutes. Okay? Now you can see that that is very saucy. It's fine like this. That's perfectly fine this way. However, I would like for mine to be a little less saucy. So I'm going to put it back in the oven for another 10 minutes. See what that looks like? You can see the peppers, the onions, the meatball, well, taco meatballs. And now, the meatballs are actually done. I can tell they're done. But I'm going to pop this back in 350 degrees for 10 more minutes and let this cook down just a little bit more. And then we'll come back and it'll be done and I'll show you what we got. Okay, it's been in for a total of 30 minutes. Checked it at 20. I wanted to cook down a little bit more. And here we are. You can see that it has actually cooked down a little bit more. It's not quite as saucy. All right. Now then, if you want the last few minutes that it's in the oven, put some cheese on top. If you would like to do that, you go right ahead. You put your favorite shredded cheese on the top and leave it in for about 5 minutes more, for the last 5 minutes, I would say. And you can serve it like that. Or you can just leave it like this. I'm not going to put any cheese on it, but you certainly can. Now, you can serve this with rice, like I'm going to do. I have some white rice made, so I'm going to have mine with some nice rice. You can serve this with all of the taco fixings that you want. Sour cream, cheese, jalapenos, whatever you like. You can serve it with that. You can serve it with or on tortillas. You can serve it with beans and rice and maybe some corn. Let your imagination be your guide. Serve it the way your family likes to eat tacos. If you want to eat these on a taco shell, feel free. If you want to serve them for lunch, dinner, it doesn't really matter. You serve them however you like. But just do what you like to do. I'm just showing you that these are easy to make, they're inexpensive to make, and they're delicious. All right, I'm going to take a little bit of this because I'm going to taste it, and I'm going to put it in this dish. See how pretty this looks? It actually does look really pretty. Isn't it nice? How about some seasoned black beans on the side, some and rice or corn, or just seriously, just anything you want, you can do with this. All right. Let's see if we can get you up here so you can kind of see. I'm going to taste it. That's very, 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 very hot. First, I'm going to turn my oven off. That helps. So, 20 minutes or 30 minutes, it's entirely up to you. It's whatever you want to do. Now, I wanted to do this for a reason. I want to show you. See how nicely solid that meatball is without filler? See there? It's pretty good. And like I said, if you can make this like this so that it's keto friendly. If you want to put in some filler, go ahead. You can put in some filler, but see how this is actually a pretty solid meatball. Okay. See the green peppers, yellow peppers, the tomato. I'm going to taste this and see what we got. I have to blow it first because it's so hot. Oh, wow. They're really good. Remember I mentioned to you today there's snowing? Oh dear, it is snowing. That rain turned to snow. And what a wonderful dish to have on a snowy day, a cold day. Your family will love this. And guess what? If you look in the fridge and you say, oh, I only have a pound of hamburger, you can make this and actually invite a couple friends over. Yes, you can. This is really so good. I'm very, very happy with it. Very happy. And I think you will be too. Okay? Well, listen. I hope you give this a try. Taco meatballs, made the Simple Food, Simple Life way. You know what? I'm sure somebody somewhere has come up with this. I don't know if they have, but this came to me in the middle of the night. I came up with this myself and with the help of the good Lord above, and honestly, I'm sticking with that story, okay? I'm sticking with it. That's my story, and I'm sticking to it, baby. All right, listen, I love you. If I can do it, you can do it. And as always, little is much when God is in it. And boy, ain't that the truth. All right, love you. Talk to you later. Bye.